Hey everybody, Shane here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in the All Things Wicked update for Dead by Daylight, going for the What Lurks Beneath achievement. This one's going to be done from the killer side. It is to injure a survivor 25 times while in the basement. This one can be done with any killer, so no purchase necessary for this one. You might want to try to use a killer who has a perk that lets you know whenever survivors are going to be in the basement, so something like Huntress's Territorial Imperative. The Dredge's Darkness Revealed is probably going to be a better choice, as all basements are going to contain lockers, and this one is going to have a better range on it. And of course, I'm going to recommend Nurses, A Nurse's Calling, as basements are going to be a common place that survivors are going to hide to heal. So make sure you get into a game. Of course, this achievement is going to be a little out of your own agency, since you can't really force survivors to come into the basement for you to attack them. So if you want to play the Patience game, what I recommend doing is ignoring the game in it of its entirety, and then just head into the basement and then hope that survivors come down here, and then you can give them the old jump scare when they're least expecting it. The basement is going to be found underneath the main building or the killer shack. Make sure you find out which one and then head on inside. What's going to count as the basement for the achievement is going to be anything past where the staircase takes that 90-degree turn. So any hit that you land on any survivor past this point is going to start progressing the achievement. So, as mentioned before, there's not going to be any real way of forcing a survivor to come down to the basement so you can attack them. So your best bet is to just come down to the basement as soon as possible and then just wait for them to come to you. Now, more likely than not, a survivor is going to come into the basement realizing that you're not actually participating in the game, trying to look for you, and then you can just take advantage of that and then give them a nice smack once they do happen to cross into the basement. The only reason a survivor has for coming into the basement is to try to loot it for its chest, so you can take advantage of that. But of course, there's only going to be one chest in the basement, and once that thing is looted, they are probably not going to come back here. The other scenario is going to be if you happen to notice this circle right here in the back right corner of the basement. This is going to be an indication that one of the survivors is running an invocation perk. An invocation perk is pretty much going to spawn this basement circle, which the survivors are going to need to come down to interact with, and you can take advantage of this by just waiting in the corner and then giving them a smack as they approach the circle. So you can punish accordingly, but of course, once they notice that you're camping the circle, they are probably not going to return to try to invoke the perk again. So make sure you do keep that in mind. Of course, you can also be a little proactive with this. You can take advantage of the aforementioned perks and then try to play the game legit, keeping a close eye on the basement and then coming down here to try to hit the survivors before they can escape. I am going to recommend you try to play as the Dredge, as the Dredge can teleport to any locker on the map, including the ones in the basement. So that's going to give you a nice little shortcut if you do plan on actually pursuing the survivors. But of course, the best strategy is to just hang out in the basement and then just hit people as they're coming down here for those two particular reasons laid out earlier. Or if they happen to just want to look for you, since you aren't going to be participating in the game, and they're probably going to come down here to figure out where you are. You can also try to use the basement for what it's supposed to be used for, which is to hook the survivors down here. You can hope that their teammates are going to be altruistic enough to come in for the rescue, and then you can try to attack them as they're coming in, and then also pop them on to hooks, and then hope that snowballs into a situation where the entire team comes down here so you can punish them one at a time and rack up a ton of damage that way. On a positive note, the achievement is only going to ask you to damage these survivors. You do not need to down them in the basement. So that's going to be something you can look forward to. This achievement is going to be a little bit on the grindy side, again, because most of it is going to be outside of your own agency. You're just going to need to hope for situations where you have survivor encounters in the basement, and you're going to need to hope that those encounters lead to you being able to hit and damage them. Also, do keep in mind this is going to be a cumulative achievement that does track over multiple games, so if you are getting overly frustrated in one particular game where you aren't getting anything, just make sure you move on to the next game and just keep working on this. Even if you manage to score a few each game, that's going to still be progress regardless, but once you do manage to get enough, you should be good for the achievement. So just keep toughing it out, and then once you hit that magical number of 25, you should be good for the unlock. There it is, it's going to be for 40 gamer score, and that's all there is to it.